Just hold that face.
Hey, everybody, I'm Mike.
I'm Bob.
I'm Tim.
And I'm not Tim.
No.
Oh, yeah.
And that's Seppy, who's not Tim.
Thank God
Welcome
he's
to the Board
Seppy.
Game Rundown.
Yeah, I'm
This is Whiskey
Seppy.
Wednesday. And we got Seppy with us because he's got a game on Kickstarter, and I had to practice to make sure I didn't goof it up. It's Kaiser, Cucumber, and the Gang of Mechanical Corners.
So good, Mike. So good.
God, Mike.
It's a mouthful. Your game, that is.
Yeah, dudes have said that to me before. My game is often a mouthful, Mike. I love you for this. Noticing.
Mike with his tiny hands making men feel better everywhere.
Well, you know, the benefit, the Lord blessed me with small hands, so it looks bigger in pictures.
That's right.
The
let's say hi
OnlyFans
to
hands.
everybody.
Yeah, we'll call those OnlyFans hands. And,
I like it.
hey.
Hi, Jazz. We got Wayne in the house.
Oh, jazz cat lover. Yeah.
After dark content is a little bit
Oh,
early.
Yeah, we
tonight,
hit the ground running tonight. Whoops.
and that's why we have the Rossies in the house. They're here for that content. So.
It's after
Thank
midnight somewhere.
Right.
I love it. Perfect. Perfect.
Mike, you're a little quiet.
Oh, I guess I could move my
you
mic
go.
up a little bit. There we
Don't get the
go.
mouse too close. The cat gets on me.
Yeah, that's cute. That is true.
We're good.
You know, I usually ask everybody else, but since it is now February 5th in the Midwest, you know, we are balls deep into winter. So I'm drinking Jim Beam Winter Reserve over here.
Oh, nice.
Finally got into that.
One of those
All right.
Costco.
Hey,
Since you
Orange.
mentioned that it's February 5th, who has a neighbor who still has their Christmas lights up?
Ooh.
wait,
I don't think I
is
do.
it you, Tim?
Yeah, I haven't taken them down yet, but I don't turn them on. I haven't turned them on in a month.
Turn
them
them up,
on.
turn them on.
On the break, Tim, turn them on. Let people know.
Let them know.
We have a
Holiday
we have a stocking up still, but it's my dog's. So
Aw, you gotta do that. Yeah.
That's fair.
So instead of bringing like a head-to-head debate, I brought a topic of meaning today. I hope you guys don't mind if I change it up. I can't come on and do the same thing every time.
Not at
Like,
all. Seppy.
Create and manipulate a system in which you must admit that the Conquest Princess is the greatest giant robot of all time.
such
Listen,
an introspective topic today.
masterfully played. So I always look forward to having you on, Seppy. I appreciate you making time for us. I know you
course.
got a lot going on. So always happy
Yeah.
to see your smiling
But we
face.
all have a lot going on. And today's topic, we're going to talk about crowdfunding and indie publishing, but we're going to start with the topic of propaganda. Have you guys heard my spiel on propaganda?
I haven't actually. I don't think so.
Okay, this comes from a paper, a mid 20th century historian talking about Cold War era music on the other side of the Iron Curtain. This theory is, okay, so what's important is, how does propaganda work, Tim, for the people that buy into it, and also the people who are diametrically opposed to it, and the people who refuse to get involved with it? How does propaganda work for all three of those groups in the exact same way?
It elicits a response.
Close.
Okay.
Bob, what's your guess?
That'd be pretty close to my guess there.
Close.
It brings like some
Mike,
kind of feeling
you-
or something inside you. It unites.
What does it have in common for all three?
All three of
groups?
those groups. And this is why propaganda works.
It's because it makes Mike make that face.
I'm struggling. I don't have a guess because I know it's not correct.
No, all like getting you to think about it is like part of the solution. So just throw out a guess.
It's necessary.
Ooh, That's interesting. I like that. We're gonna come back to that. We're gonna come back to that. Okay. So propaganda and its repetition beats the brain with so much boredom, you cannot imagine a world otherwise.
Okay.
So it paralyzes you to think that this is inevitable. Like if you like the propaganda, you think, yeah, this is it. Or you think, oh, you don't like the propaganda, you're like, that group is idiots. And then the last group is like, why can't we like, and it's there to keep you on a track. So not inspire a thought or a feeling, but make sure you cannot imagine a world other than that thought or feeling. And that is how it works for all three groups. That propaganda beats you into a lack of imagination. So what do you do to combat that cycle? You do something ludicrous, like try to have an in-depth conversation on the Whiskey Wednesday. Like you have to do something. Like you've got to reveal to everybody that Bob is a bag of cats because joy is protest.
That's right.
And you find people who've traveled the world and seen more ideas less likely to buy into whatever. And it's not because they're immune, it's because they have like access to more thoughts. Like it's harder to pen them in. It doesn't make them better, but they've seen more things and have experienced different things. And so they react to a situation in a way that is fundamentally different. And being different is a protest. Joy is a protest. And everybody should remember that. Like the whiskey, the Whiskey Wednesday is important because it gives people a chance to recharge and a chance to think about things that are different. And nothing is as different as adorable little weirdo Tim. Like he is like the definition of different.
Definitely different. I'm rocking some goat legs underneath these sweats right now.
We know this because he's always Donald Ducking it, like in his face.
Let's try to get the stance on,
Like which of us understands the full score of Zamfir and the pan flute?
That's right. That's right. That's right.
Like only Tim knows like what Zamfir sounds like. If people don't remember Zamfir, yeah, it's a thing.
Okay. I'm just glad that we have an ultimate purpose in the grand scheme of things.
Like the place that people recharge, like people should not dismiss joy. They should not dismiss the fact that speaking out and being silly and like Tim and I have an advantage as Cold War kids because we were taught that the world's going to end and you need to be self-sufficient. Like nobody's going to be there for you. Like Mad Max, maybe if you're lucky, you have a dog, but you got to be your own mechanic, your own sidekick, your ability to like grab like metal boomerangs. Like, if you cannot walk 100, like a mile in 120 pound chainmail, then you're just not as strong as Tina Turner. These are all the lessons that we learned in the Cold War. But, on a serious note, like, I came of age when AIDS was like ravaging the gay community, and I was going to places to try to forget all my problems. And that teaches you how to compartmentalize the awful.
Listen, man, that is a true life skill. Like, regardless, right? Everybody's going through their own stuff.
Struggles.
And
One of them got out.
Oh
no! Bob just lost like a leg below the
knee. Like gallows humor is a thing, right? And
sure.
There was a big period early, like a decade earlier, where that was way on the outs. People were like, "How dare you like laugh at my pain and not take it seriously?" I'm like, my laughter very much takes it seriously. Right.
That is my coping mechanism. Like
it is.
when something terrible happens, unfortunately, I'm the first one to make a joke about it. And usually it's at my own expense and not somebody else's,
I went on the number 2 podcast in the UK for board games the week before last. Okay, so the number one is Shut Up and Sit Down, because it's fantastic and everybody loves it. But right after that is We're Not Wizards. And if you've ever heard me on We're Not Wizards, it is such a stream of consciousness. Like, Richard is one of my favorite people to go on, because you never know what we're going to talk about. Even like,
sure.
At least Tim and I have a cadence of we're going to drop back to pop cultural reference. But we're like Richard and I are strictly Fear and Loathing in Las Vegas. We are way out there and doing this stuff. And I gave him like statistics from America, and you know that's the Mike. It gets dangerous when Seppy starts using math. Like, like I had him guess, of course, I mean, you guys do the same guess, like how many house fires happened in Detroit on
right.
the
Yeah,
29th, 30th, and 31st of 1984. Do you guys remember how many house fires?
No, but I remember you asking us that question.
Yeah, Bob, do you remember? Do any of the cats remember how many that is?
No, it was a lot, though. It was like hundreds, wouldn't it?
It's 800. It's over 800. It's like 870 house fires in 3 nights, right? And then, of course, I gave him the statistics on like school shootings in 2023 or 2024. Like, the numbers are like, and I gave this to a British person, and they're like, his brain melted.
Yeah,
just melted.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's like, okay, yeah, like, when you are faced with all of this, whatever, what do you do? And the answer is you cannot surrender your happiness to fear and anger when it is under attack, because that literally is surrender.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, agree.
And I never thought me being me was going to be, I never wanted to be political, but just me existing, like, for example, my parents had my brother the first year it was legal for biracial couples, Asian men, to marry women in the United States.
It's crazy.
That is 1967.
Wow.
Sadly, it's
Not
not
that long ago.
it's not long enough ago. That should be way further back in our past.
Yeah.
Like, did I have you guys? Yes.
Yeah.
You need a place to recharge. It's so important to have a place to recharge.
Mm-hmm.
But I asked the same question. Yeah, loving versus yes. Wait. You guys have a smart audience. This is fantastic. You guys have a smart audience. And so to that end, as we're talking about like crowdfunding and indie publishing, like social media, you can't have it as part of your life all the time now. Like, there was a part in 2010, you're like, hey, I'm gonna look on Facebook and I'm gonna see what I should back on Kickstarter. That game seems great. And then and so the heyday, like, really for crowdfunding was 2010 to 2020. And after that, you really have.
Yeah. Here, Bob, I'll do it for you. I'll do it for you. There you go.
Nice. You really have a change in the social media landscape, right? So, and for that reason, Tim, I'm doing this terrible thing. And Mike, I hope you support this idea. The platforms are really not interested in me, succeeding as a person or as a human. And so I decided not to dump a whole bunch of money into the gamble that is like meta ads or any of that kind of stuff to boost my content so it could be seen by the people who have already said, please let me see this person's content. Instead, we are just participating in Zine Quest and nominating other people's zines that we want to succeed. And we're just going there. And then if anybody else wants to do this with us, they can come to our Discord and see what we're doing. And we're not talking even that much about our crowdfund on the daily reports. More, we're talking about the things that we've discovered or the inner workings of the universe of Mouse, Cheese, Cat, Cucumber. And
There you go.
and then if people go to these other crowdfunds, we're telling them to please tell them that Kaiser Cucumber sent them, or Kaiser Cucumber sent their regards.
See, that's that punk rock subversiveness that I love about you, Seppy. That's
Bad brains.
that is that's like the sneaky inception. But hey, I think that's awesome, because also right at the same time though, you're putting it back out there. You're getting other people, you're drumming up awareness for lots of projects and not just your own. But
people gotten jaded with crowdfunding. Since we're talking about the state of crowdfunding, if you're lucky, people show up. They will give you money, which is amazing, and then you will never hear from them again, even when they're supposed to collect their pledge. But a crowdfund's supposed to be sort of an event, and one of the great things about Kaiser Cucumber, the 3-night heist, is in the Mouse, Cheese, Cat, Cucumber crowdfund, we had people doing crosswords at speed as a contest to get their thing as best, doing art pictures, doing all these other things, doing these quizzes to get their characters into the universe. Well, those characters are all in the RPG, and 2 of them ended up being masterminds for Kaiser Cucumber. And so Prime Wellington and Tila are people who participated in the circus, which was the original. Tila's literally somebody's cats.
Nice.
She had done the crossword first, or had done the crossword and whatever, and so her cat ended up being the character in the thing. And so, in the idea, again, that propaganda, everybody thinks you have to do crowdfunds a certain way. Well, maybe we're going to try something else. Maybe we're going to go back to its roots and have people go explore all these other projects that, it's like the zines are not that much. It's not like I'm asking you, Tim, to give me, $300 for Conquest Princess. I'm asking you to give me $1, $15, right? Or if you're going to go do one of the zines, get the PDF for whatever, $5 or whatever.
Yeah, it's all pretty cheap.
Yeah, it's and you can make a world of difference in Zine Quest. You don't Simon, you're not going to make a difference in that audience, right? But today's crowdfund we had was Fluff in Fury. It is a Cyber RPG about being a Five Nights at Freddy's animatronic bear robot, trying to misbehave, and it's ridiculous. And the reason that we backed that one today was because I had made a call out in Blue Sky, and this person was like, me. And I'm like, all right.
Why you? Yeah. No, that's great.
I shouted out into the darkness, and Mike's darkness shouted back into me. And that is all that really, really, really matters. I've been doing a lot of talking. What's wrong with me? You guys, somebody whip the cats.
Yeah, I like that you have 21 minutes for the playtime. That's funny.
It is. Yeah, it's 21 minutes. They'll do a lot of testing.
And then the card game was showing 13 minutes.
The card game, where's it showing 13 minutes? It's probably
sorry. I think that maybe that was an old version of the rule book that you sent me in PDF
yes. Yeah, it's about 21. It's about 21 minutes.
Gotcha.
Yeah. The RPG is a little bit longer than that.
Congratulations on funding.
Yeah, it took us 6.5 hours or something. Woo!
And so naturally, that's going to be the advertisement at the bottom of the Kickstarter tomorrow, funded in 6.5 hours. Speaking of bucking Kickstarter,
no one cares about no one cares about that. Well, we did that for Princess. We funded in 33,331 minutes.
Oh, nice.
We did 33,331 minutes. Yeah, that was definitely a thing.
So speaking of Kickstarter crowdfunding trends, you said you're bucking trends. Was your goal the goal, or because a lot of people put those fake goals up that they hope to hit in 45.5 seconds as an advertising boost.
The short answer is yes. The real answer is maybe. Like
somewhere in the middle.
It's a $15 card game, right?
Right.
And the design's really good, and we've done a lot of them, and and then zines, we're probably gonna, if knock on wood, get to be able to make that or print that locally, which is great. It's not worlds of money to this. It's not like Princess is 8.5 pounds of cardboard and acrylic. But
that's the title of Bob's drag show. 8.5 pounds of cardboard and acrylic.
But if you add things like the fact that we have to eat into the equation, Mike,
right,
then it gets a little bit like,
sure.
It's going to cost the kindness of everybody who participates allows me to
keep doing it.
Eat, have bifocals, like.
I believe they call them progressive lenses now.
Yeah, I guess I think I'm gonna get cheaters. I need cheaters really, really, really badly. I'll just change my glasses out. But yeah, so what are we gonna see this year in crowdfunding? We're gonna see people disconnecting from media, really crushing small and mid-size indies, because if you do not have a certain critical mass of size, and that critical mass is probably about 10,000 active people engaging in your whatever. If you don't have about 10,000 people in that year pool, then you're gonna have a hard time.
So would you say, as just going by that, right? Let's just start. I'm gonna just jump right into this. If you are if you're an independent designer, and let's just say you're nowhere near that number, because that's it's one thing to have that many emails. It's another thing to have that many people genuinely interested. So if you're a designer, you're nowhere near that. Do you as a Cubs fan, do you say wait till next year with that, trying to throw your game to crowdfunding?
I say that you need to be participating in communities and start building up and have a system to get there. It's almost better. If we look at Exploding Kittens, they had built up a following for years working on other stuff, right? Cyanide and Happiness. Do something that is a zero entry thing and then jump into gaming probably is a better way to go about this stuff. But I have a game. I want to crowdfund it. The era of that being a success, there's a chance. It's not a non-zero chances, but it is so much lower than it was. I wouldn't want anybody to think it's very, very, very hard.
Well, and it was already difficult. And when do you think Kickstarter was peaked? 2010 was at the height, zenith.
No, I think it was his best time there. I think it jumped the shark and ended when Potato Salad got funded.
I don't know what potato salad is.
Oh, somebody wanted to make an expensive potato salad. And
they wanted $10 to make potato salad, and it was people all jumped on and did it. And the guy ended up making a swimming pool amount, because every time it kept going up, he's like, "Hey, I'm going to post this Kickstarter. I need $10 to make potato salad." Well, go. You can look this up. It's a thing.
I remember
and then what that ended up doing was, it was very fun, and I'm glad people did it. But then people could not take the disappointment of having invested in people's dreams who had never completed anything, and then 6 years later never getting anything. That constant disappointment made them really unhappy about there's the potato salad.
55 grand.
Yeah, 55 grand. Look at that number. I've never had, if you add all my backers together on all my successful projects, I do not have 7,000 backers.
That's crazy.
Right?
So, I mean, like, so do you think it's like, and not to say it's these people's fault, right? But is it because of companies, that have had hugely quote unquote successful Kickstarters, but then never was able to fill or and deliver? Is that a symptom, or is that the actual like cause, right?
No,
Like,
no, it's a symptom. All right. So there's a couple of things. When crowdfunding got to a point where even avid collectors could not get all the hotness on all the projects they were interested in, that became a major poop, right?
Yeah, so there was like 2012 through probably 2015. I was able to back everything I wanted and
everything you wanted, exactly.
Get all the stuff.
This is in that like the 2014. Yeah, it's in that range, and so that is a thing that ended up happening. And the fact is, there are people still trying to live the crowdfund dream, and they're like Zine Quest is a perfect example of it. Like queer furries are making the most innovative RPGs that you've ever thought of. Like these people are making amazing games. Like the innovations we're going to see in role-playing games 10 years from now are all in like games that RPGs that queer furries are currently writing. Like it is really the case.
Takes all kinds.
It does take all kinds. And there are different people in it, but that's a very small thing. Like the goals for these projects are like really small. You only need whatever $1,500 to $3,000, and so people aren't afraid of that. It's all usually just written, and so it's not like I need to engineer a 3-foot Cthulhu model so that I can then send it out. The reminder that people are human and that projects fail isn't why people want to go to a place where people dream, right?
Sure.
Right? And, like GoFundMe wasn't supposed to be the popularity. Like, I hope I'm popular enough to pay for my surgery.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Right? Like...
Yeah, GoFundMe to me is sort of like the back alley Kickstarter. I don't know. That's not fair to lump.
No, it's not fair. It's not fair. But like we're talking about every time you have a centralized item and then you differentiate and you lose people along the way, it loses momentum. Like why this is so important, why this discussion is sort of interesting, and I guess it's not really a discussion, it's just me just pontificating and being an old person. Get off my lawn, Tim!
I love getting asked the questions.
Jim, get off my lawn!
And get yelled at by Seppy for an hour. It's my favorite.
You can all tell. I say, like, I'm all up on my mug. I'm like,
what he said.
I agree.
Yeah. I'm gonna ding-a-ling dong my ding-a-long ling long.
So you think so what you're saying is like GoFundMe and then Kickstarter and now GameFound are like diluted,
and BackerKit and all these, like every time you separate an because projects fail and companies are human, and every time you fail a group of people and so forth, and you spread around, and we're seeing that across all the media landscape, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And also the experience for us, Tim, like Aliens was the second coming of all cinema. Like, right. I can't tell you how many times, like, and we just sat down and watched it. Like the number of events that bring everybody together in the same sort of sci-fi or nerd experience has gotten smaller and smaller. Right. And cable made it so there was more options for people, and like it's all fantastic. But the thing that brings us all together becomes more rare as you give people more and more choices, right?
Mm-hmm. That's true,
so,
right? It's harder to capture the zeitgeist, right? So yeah.
Right, and so the big things that end up capturing everybody's attention, or everybody wants to be a thing. So in the crowdfunding and indies, you're going to see a lot of like like small to mid people either get absorbed by other people or not be able to do it or go do other things. That's sort of the unfortunate condition for, like, we already saw that with Elf Creek, for example. I think we're going to be seeing more mid guys like gobble up smaller guys to try to be big enough to make the critical mass. And one of the reasons that is because the people who discovered board gaming in 2020 are now also going through a metamorphosis or an apotheosis. Like, they're going through, because they had to realize, oh, you mean I can't, I don't have space enough to hold all these games. I can't buy an unlimited games. I don't have time enough to play all these games. I don't have now I got to go back to the workplace. Like, I can't and so you're seeing people have to curate their collection, and that's a thing. And if you haven't gone through an emotional journey of having to curate something before, you're like, you just feel bad about this thing that gave you joy. Right?
Yeah, for sure.
And, instead of remembering, I did give up all my original D&D books and my original box sets and pamphlets and stuff like that. But when I did, I was like, I did all these things with it, and I should feel good about the I'm not going back to play first edition Dungeons and Dragons.
Come on, Taco is calling you.
Yeah, that's advanced. But yeah, I mean,
fair. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not going second edition. That's second edition. I thought it was second edition. And I'm old enough to correct you about that, which is amazing. I mean, when people, I think this is why people had such the urge to gatekeep for so long. And that was because they saw a thing that used to give them joy and they felt a little bit bad about it. And when somebody else sees something differently, instead of taking the time to adjust your point of view so that you can bridge it for somebody else, it's just easier to shut them down. Right?
Well, yeah. And also, right, I unfortunately, especially early on, the people that the hobby appealed to and the people that were into the hobby were not always the most socially adept folks as well.
Stop picking on me and stop picking on Mike. Mike,
listen, Seppy,
stop being so quiet. Speak up for yourself.
Seppy's never met a stranger, so I'm not even, I'm not talking about you.
But I've given people the straight. What? I didn't finish that sentence. It's not after dark.
That's fair. That's fair. But no, I mean, yeah, and also, right, as someone who likes Star Wars and tries to not be one of those people, but the Star Wars fan community has proved that that nerds can be just as toxic as good old boys and anybody else. They just have their own special ways of doing it. So and evolution is always painful, and there's going to, you're just going to have to learn how to adjust, because the hobby has changed for me many times. I've gone through several iterations of my own gaming journey and hobby, right? I started playing Magic cards and D&D and things like that, and then I went to Warhammer, and then I went back to Magic cards and D&D, and then into board games, and now it's kind of like a little dabbling of all kinds of stuff, but mostly board games. But I remember early on when I was into Magic cards, I was at a friend's house and we're playing Magic. I went over there to play Magic. I made these Magic decks. I'm going to play Magic.
And I channel fireballed them. And that was the shortest game ever.
And these other people were there and they're like, oh, we got this game, Arkham Horror. You want to play that? And I'm like, no, I'm here to play Magic. And I turned it down. And then years later, 3 years later, I'm like, ooh, Arkham Horror. I need to play this game. I love this game.
I've got a very funny story, historical, but I want to jump to ask Mike a question. Mike,
ooh, wake him up.
Yes.
What level of expertise would you say you have in football?
Probably like a 9 out of 10.
9 out of 10. How many fantasy football seasons have you won?
I've been doing fantasy football.
How many leagues a year?
Since
How many times you won?
1999. So
99?
like 25 years now.
How many times have you won the league?
I have been in anywhere between 1 and 7 leagues every year for the last 25 years. And I would say I've probably won maybe 10 to 12 of them. 10 to 15.
12 of them. That's not bad. How big are these leagues?
There were several seasons I was doing like 6 or 7 leagues at a time. So
yeah,
against little kids.
Well,
I'm just kidding.
Yes, against people that thought it was fantasy soccer.
Fantasy soccer.
I have a quick follow-up question. Is this Seppy's first appearance as a hand model? Is that what we're seeing here?
No, that's not my bear paw. That is Mark's bear paw.
That is a hairy there's some hairy knuckles.
I was when I was younger, I was in a Finger Hut catalog. I was in a Best Buy commercial. Yeah, I did. Yeah, this stuff. So, Mike, what is the hardest concept in football to communicate to the uninitiated? Like, what statistic? What nuance of the game? What would you say is the most? How deep you have had to either play, and it can even be fantasy football. Yeah.
Okay. Well, actually, that's an interesting question because I have recently, with football season kind of coming to its ultimate conclusion.
Oh my God, the
here,
Lions,
professional football,
oh my God,
and
it killed me.
College football. Been watching a lot of Notre Dame games lately, and I have actually been watching them and teaching my girlfriend about football, who knows nothing about it because she was born and raised in the Philippines.
Okay.
And so to get her interested in actually watching the games, I'm teaching her how the sport works as we're watching them. And I think the number one is how it's actually scored, because you see a yellow line on the field. Well, okay, how to get a first down, and then how much you actually score, and then how possession changes. Because
those are just rules.
Yeah.
No,
I would think
nuance.
maybe teaching somebody defensive schemes or something
I'm
that.
What are the responsibilities of a tight end? I have my own opinions on that, but how would you teach people?
I'm talking about okay, so I guess all of the responsibilities of the quarterback is probably the most confusing thing.
You all right?
Yeah,
what are the responsibilities? Help me.
It's like explaining why that's either a good throw or a bad throw if they throw it out of bounds, or if they, because, Mike,
that's smart.
Yeah, right. Are they on their third progression, right? Well, was that interception actually bad? Did he look off did he look off the corner or look off the safety? Did he read the blitz? I mean, there's football, like baseball, right? There's so many nuances in the rules. And
yeah, I would argue, how do you recognize a bad matchup, right? And how do you recognize that the Patriots are cheating? They're on the field, these kinds of
guy
things.
With the camera.
My family's from Boston, so they're all Pats fans, and I'm like,
yeah, it's like if you opened up Bob's closet, it's like there's a guy with a camera there, and
because who's really into cats, and he's like, maybe I'll catch one. But how this all plays back to modern board gaming and the changes and stuff is how long did it take you in sports to feel good about recognizing a bad matchup, either for coaching styles or for normally this offensive line is great, but because of this reason, they're not going to get anywhere, whatever it is, or like any of that kinds of stuff.
How long did that take?
Yeah.
I mean, you didn't know that the first time you turned on a game, right? I mean, it took you years.
No.
Did it take you
no.
playing it? Did it take you like
Losing money on it.
Yeah, did it take you losing money on it?
Well, I mean, the analytics of football have gotten a lot stronger because now, like, there's a website called PFF, and
Pro
it
football,
actually
yeah.
will give individual player rankings. It's very difficult. Like, you can watch a game, but most of the time, people are following the ball. That's the game, is just watching where the football goes. So they're staring at the quarterback, then the running back, or watching it being thrown from the quarterback to the wide receiver. Most people are not paying attention to what's actually happening at the line of scrimmage.
And it's hard to
And
tell
so
from the
now
broadcast.
PFF has actually created a ranking system that can tell you how effective individual players are, like offensive linemen, at pass blocking, at run blocking, and how they do against different defensive schemes, against zone, against blitz. And so I think these additional analytics that have been added to the game have definitely helped people recognize if every positional player is actually doing a good job. But yeah, that takes years. That, like, it took, football's been around since the 40s, and they're just now coming. That PFF has only been around for like 6 or 7 years, where they came up with these individual player rankings that allows them to rank offensive linemen even at how they're doing at their position. So there's just such a nuance when you have 24 different positions and none of those players play more than one position. They only do one individual thing.
And you and your teammates or you and your the people in your leagues are excited about, and this all the kinds of that stuff is a level of smart and nuance and strategy and deep nerdery that is very is very animal. I love, like, the strategy of football is much more interesting to me than watching the games itself, like that kind of stuff. Like, it is a very strategic and wildly complicated game, and played like each individual doing their part and making those decisions. And I love that. But simultaneously, if you can understand football, you can understand pronouns. If you can understand football, you can understand gerrymandering. These are all things, like, it is wildly complicated. One of the things I love about this time of year is Paul Charchian. You're familiar with Paul Charchian, right, Mike? The godfather of fantasy football. He's on KFAM.
I feel like you've brought that name up before.
Yeah, Paul.
I think one of the guys that,
Yeah, he's in the Twin Cities, and when football season ends, he gets to come out from his like whatever, and I'll get to see him at Con North, hopefully, knock on wood. He's a fan of the Fight in the Box games and so forth and whatnot, and I always Paul made the first site that managed people's leagues, and then he cashed out for that, and then he made the first site that managed people's money from the leagues. So so he's doing all right.
he's doing fine.
He's doing fine, because there are people who play in 7 leagues, Mike. There are people who play in 7 leagues.
Not anymore. Just 3 these
That's
days.
just 3. But how all does this tie together with crowdfunding and indie publishing? Like, we are now having people transition from, just experiencing all board games are good in 2020. Gaming doubled in size. And so now these people are coming to age as, like, full gamers. These are the kind of games that I like. I want to get more people in gaming. And we're seeing the trend of these more approachable, easy to teach games, getting places. While simultaneously, we're seeing publishers trying to reach that audience and trying not to feel the struggle. So trying to break into mass market at the same time. And so when you're looking at like, should you go back to crowdfunding this year? There's a real question for gamers, because you should be able to play what gives you joy, right? Simultaneously. But if you're looking for like new voices or the industry to be filled with new ideas, then like finding little like fandoms that you can participate in and being significant and appreciated is also an option.
And what's really interesting is with like,
and I've chased your whole stream away. You're like,
no, you're fine.
Like we went down a football hole and like, can we get back to Bob and the cats?
No, but that's that's sort of the thing with like Comic-Con culture, right? Is finding these fandoms that you can be a part of and feel like you're part of a community and appreciate something. I'll use this as an example. We went to C2E2 in Chicago last year, right? Big comic book convention in Chicago. It's at McCormick Place. It's right downtown. My daughter dressed wanted to cosplay. She cosplayed as her favorite Demon Slayer character, Muichiro.
Nice.
Right? And she is true to her hipster father genetics, and she picked like a character that's not overly popular, not one of the main characters, but like one that's kind of quirky and comes in and out.
Right.
So we go and we're walking around the convention floor, right? And we see all kinds of characters, from Demon Slayer, Genshin Impact, all kinds of stuff that she really likes, anime she really likes. And she's very excited to see all these people. She was the only Muichiro, like the only one. And everybody was so excited to see her. And then somebody asked her later if, like, are you going to the Demon Slayer meetup? And we're like, no, where's that at? And so it was like everybody that was cosplaying as Demon Slayer characters were going to this one little corner of the convention hall. And then they took pictures based on the characters that were in the arcs. So they had these they were grouping the characters from the different seasons together. Nice. And so we're kind of just standing off to the side and watching, right? And because Muichiro is not in the first like 2 arcs. So, there's 100 Tanjiros and, and Rengoku's, very popular characters, And
you question everybody who is Zetsu. You're like, why?
Why?
You made me almost not watch the show. Why? So bad it burns. It burns, Mike. It burns. I could put Zetsu in front of you, Mike, and you would be like, why would anybody watch this flaming hot garbage?
So
you'd be right to ask that question.
But we get to the arcs where Muichiro starts showing up. Yeah, right, Aaron. You can take a nap at any time and you turn into a badass. You're right. Tsunetsu. But they get to the Muichiro arc, and Mallory is the only one. And everybody, like, she's not like running over there to get in the picture, right? They're taking pictures, and like somebody sees her we're standing off to the side, and somebody sees her, and it's like, Muichiro, like, get over here now. And so like she goes over there, and she's all like, she's trying not to show it on her face, right? She's trying to be in character because he's this very somber, like kind of weird, weird, whimsical, dude.
Right.
And she's just there in character, like at all the pictures, and for a couple of arcs, and then but when it's all done, she was so happy. Aww. She was so happy because we went with some friends, and her one friend dressed like a Gorgon from Stranger Things, and everybody knew who he was, and only like 3 people knew who she was until we went to that thing. And so she was like almost kind of bummed because she thought like, oh, I'm going to go do this cool thing and people are going to want to, like see me. Right. And, but instead, like it all culminated in this one really big, amazing event. And then it just made her day. And then we went to a convention in Grand Rapids, like last year for her birthday, and she dressed as Inosuke. So like I got her a boar's head mask, and like, so she's just like, and then she's just running around to like other people and going, Inosuke, like finding other Inosuke's. And, she found her people, I guess long story short, too late. It's that same thing in the board game hobby, right? You find your people.
All right. Oh, this is very important. So, scroll back. Tim, who's Ed Greenwood?
I don't know. Who is Ed Greenwood?
Forgotten Realms, man.
He wrote Forgotten Realms. We got him to play.
Didn't he do like Elminster? He like made Elminster.
Yes. So
Good
that
job, Hoop.
guy who
I'm back
looks
in.
the guy who looks like a wizard, Ed Greenwood. So the pedigree, it's not only like the games are good. Like, and then do you know who Eric Scott to be is then, Bob?
No.
He writes all
He
the
peaked.
Forgotten Realms novels.
Okay.
Okay, right on.
Right? And so those two got to play as foodstuffs, animals, and whatever in the our coziest steampunk. And that, of course, is you guys got to see his bear paws, but the guy in the upper right hand corner there, that's Mark, our creative director.
Okay.
So for the whatnot. And so they are huge fans of this game, and they were like, you gotta make a physical copy. When you get a physical copy, then we're gonna back it. I'm like, okay. So that's a thing.
Hey, you
Yeah,
find
Ed
your
Greenwood,
people, man.
Old school.
You got to find your people. Now, anime question. Mike, did you do Avatar? Bob, you do Avatar? The Last Airbender?
A little bit.
Okay. Tim has had to have done it with an anime.
A little.
style. Okay,
A
so
little.
there is a character who has a song he's only in one episode and he has a song. Tim, do you remember the Secret Tunnel guy?
Chris.
No, I don't remember the Secret Tunnel guy. I
Secret
don't.
tunnel.
Yes. I went to Convergence. The number one cosplay for Avatar at that convention was Secret Tunnel guy. There was
Nice.
there was 4 Secret Tunnel banjo guys go strumming.
Listen,
Secret Tunnel.
that makes my heart happy knowing that one dude that showed up in one episode was a very popular.
Like,
That's like,
seriously, like if I was gonna be a character in that universe, I'd be the cabbages guy. My cabbages.
oh yeah. I know
Yeah.
that guy. Yeah, I know that guy.
I gotta let Winston out. I'll be right back.
Oh yeah, Chris knows Secret Tunnel. Right on.
Secret Tunnel. Yeah, see, yeah, it's a real thing. So, to the heart of the crowdfunding and indie publishing for 2025, like it is very imperative that people have a place to recharge, and you find that place in games, and even on what you guys do is very important. Like, let's get together and be idiots.
Seppy, I'm not gonna lie, man. Wednesdays, it doesn't matter how my week's going. Like Wednesdays always kind of give me a nice little bump, like to get to the weekend. I have a great time. Yeah.
Oh, that's so good. I love seeing you guys. Being on your show is great. I managed to engage Mike fully in a football discussion.
Oh, you got him.
Yeah, and work it into. Mike, did it make sense how this all related, or you feel like I was just calling you out like a bully?
No, I got you.
Right,
There's a nuance to certain things for sure.
right, and you pull people like the changing in people's understanding of games and gaming and them evolving. We're seeing that on a mass level from 2020. That 2020 audience is now figuring out what to do with their game collection and gaming and where to put it in their lives. And we're seeing that shake out in interesting places. For like the largest group of people who self-proclaim that they're gamers now are women. Well, game media does not reflect their participation. One of the reasons is women are the most marketed to, especially on social media, and it costs a massive amount of money. It's super competitive space for them. These big brands spend a lot. So, and a lot of favorite local game stores aren't a place that they're either familiar with or comfortable shopping.
Oh
And
yeah.
So women get their games in general. Obviously, I'm speaking a little bit in general, like statistic macro sense, not individual women, please. But like bookstores like Barnes and Noble, not anymore Target, because people should like let Target have a timeout. I wish Costco had board gaming. Like, go to Costco and buy board games.
You have like 5 copies at one time. So
I need 5 Catans.
Hold on.
I need
Hold
5
on.
Catans.
As somebody who's bought more than one copy of a game that I already own, I don't have a problem with that.
Yeah. And so it is also an opportunity for people to go to these little fandoms like ours or other ones or any of the zine quests, and they can make a real difference. So like You can go back to the time in crowdfunding. You can reset when you felt like you were making a difference and helping with somebody's dream. You just need to do that a little bit more educated than you were before and understand, okay, this is where my actual level is. I never have to, like, that's the best thing about an RPG. You never have to play the RPG to feel like even having the book, like, is an inspiration for something else, right?
I own so many RPG books.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're great.
For sure.
Like, yeah, like the art in them is great. All this kind of stuff. And we're in an interesting space because there could be an argument as far as tabletop gaming goes that RPGs now are the most acceptable form of it.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I think that, with Critical Role and Stranger Things and things like that, bringing D&D to light, right? You know what I mean? Like, gets everybody, it's made it more socially acceptable, where there was a time where, I mean, even in the 90s, right? Like, you play D&D, you fucking nerd.
Oh yeah, Satan worshiper, right?
Right.
Yeah,
I love Satanic Panic. I love talking about the Satanic Panic.
I remember being in junior high, and they had that. Like they used to do like the Sunday night, Monday night like movies, right? The dramatic things, and like there was these kids, and they were on a role play, and to get to the next level, they had to kill their parents. And so my parents freaked out, and they were like, "Oh, well, you can't play Dungeons and Dragons anymore. It's evil, blah blah blah." And I go, "Dad, sit down with us, watch us play." And he's like, "Okay," because he was open minded enough. We sit down, we're playing, we're rolling dice, we're talking shit, and he's just like, "This is it. Like, this is it." He's like, "You guys are fine." And then he let us play, and so thankfully I was, fortunate enough to have open-minded enough parents to where they weren't, taken in by that Satanic Panic and banning us from playing it. But at school, we couldn't have the books, couldn't have magic cards in school because, it was ridiculous.
Oh, you see, I was the kid that wrote his senior paper on A Clockwork Orange to make my English teacher cry because she thought I was evil.
Nice.
Well, it is sort of evil. Like, the Kubrick movie is sort of better than the book in a lot of ways. But yes, that being, cultural understanding and acceptance of that kind of, like, we also have like Satanist things showing up in various, and that's hysterical. Like, that just gives me that just gives me the chuckles. But they're like, and like, no, that's
freaking out. It says summon demon.
So funny. But the cultural, like, we have so many people. Ooh, what is this?
Couldn't be on Speech or Debate if they played Vampire. Man, Vampire the Masquerade back in the day when it was.
Yeah, I even played the card game, the 6-hour CCG.
Jihad? Yeah, I used to play the shit out of that. I love Jihad.
I played the crap out of that.
I mean, it was just a bunch of gothy virgins that didn't know how to, talk to people.
So true.
They're so goth.
All right, so the Twin Cities is a hub of the industry, and if anybody was going to write their autobiography about the history of gaming and how it popped up places, it should be John Nephew from Atlas Games. John, I put beers into him and made him tell the hoary version of the birth of the gaming in the Twin Cities, and it is super funny. So it starts out, John paid for his college education by writing for TSR.
Nice.
I mean,
So if you have any dungeon magazines like 10 through 20, John's articles are in them, right? And so I really, 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 really want John to, for posterity, like, tell the story, because we, at this point there have been documentaries about, like, Gary Gygax and the birth of Dungeons and Dragons, all that kind of stuff. But the board gaming industry and the CCG industry, John has been around to all these things, and why, if you did not know, one couple's particular breakup in the 90s is why Seattle is another hub for gaming.
Okay.
Twin Cities, like, it came from the Twin Cities and out to Seattle during grunge over one couple's particular breakup. Yeah, it is it is sort of an epic story. Like it is great. I really want him to record that kind of stuff. But these industries, like gaming, is still an industry about people. And before that disappears, people have a chance to participate in these. But we're seeing, technology changing and sliding. We're seeing media changing and sliding. Like, and it's always going to continue to until something new happens. Like it would have to be something very, very new to bring everybody back. Like we saw all of gaming participated in World of Warcraft, right?
Oh, right.
All of gaming participated in Magic the Gathering of that time, right? All of gaming participated in crowdfunding when it was born, right? And so we would need to have a new something hit us that would bring us all together to sort of change the environment. But in the direction it's going to be, if you're of a certain size, you're going to keep on going up. And if you're below a certain size, you're going to keep on finding it harder.
Yeah. So like, I mean, just like anything, right? The corporatization of, Asmodee's buying up everybody that's worth owning. Right. And I know, right. They split from Embracer, but now they're allowed to like acquire stuff again. There was a little bit of a freeze on that for a minute.
Do they still own a Board Game Arena?
I think so.
We'll all be owned by like 3 corporations. So
exactly. That trend is a thing.
Everybody just buy Shadowrun rule books. You'll understand everything, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I want to live in one of those giant pyramids, Mike. I want to live in one of those giant arcologies.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Is the pyramid the perfect shape?
Is the pyramid the perfect shape?
I thought it was an oval.
I mean, if you're trying to assert dominance by where you live, technically the pyramid is, because there's only room for so many at the top.
Yeah, it's a very stable structure, right? And yeah, it's a thing. But I mean, if you want to see like a modern city, the modern cities aren't in the United States. You should go to China. Some of these cities that they built on top of themselves are insane. Like there's this really interesting worldview that a lot of people have from the United States that haven't really been anywhere else, and that anywhere that's not the United States is automatically a third world country. But the fact is that there are many countries that have a much more modern infrastructure than what the United States is, because it's based on being cheap and using affordable materials that break down over time, and therefore end up being more costly in the long run.
I mean, it's the long term
mindset
effects of the capitalist system, right? Is you need stuff to break because you need people to buy it again later.
I mean, to like embrace the idea that we want to invest in each other and ourselves, like in infrastructure. The biggest one for me as a Twin Cityers was when Scott Walker voted down the high-speed rail between the Twin Cities and Chicago. Like, do you understand that we would hang out if that was happening? Because I could take an hour train, you guys could take it, and then we're going to Chicago. We could do some stupid nerd shit together, and that was just poo-pooed, right? And conversely, now we have airplanes flying out of the sky.
High-speed rail should just donate more money to politicians, and then maybe they could get their.
Yeah, unfortunately, that's how it works. That's how it works.
And that's back to Shadowrun. Things. Like, how much do you want your art to imitate life? Right? I want Rhodes. I'll move to Canada. This is fantastic.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, it's too bad though, right? Because if you imagine how innovative, even just originally, I mean, go back to the 1800s. The railroads connected the United States, and how innovative and amazing that was. And I don't know. Now people
Yeah,
don't
and
wanna,
that's again technology bringing us all back together, right?
right. Yeah, it should. It should.
Yeah,
It
like,
should.
yeah, yeah.
Uh,
when do I actually get to see you guys in person again? None of you guys are going to Gamma, right?
I am a maybe. I'm trying
Big
to
maybe,
still
too.
trying to swing it. Still trying to swing it.
Next
Yeah,
up,
if
for
you
sure
do.
would be Origins.
Okay. Well, I want to see all of you,
Origins.
and I have a very inappropriate story that tells you the promise of the internet. So remember to ask me about this
Oh.
story.
I
Oh,
will
you mean
never.
the thing Al Gore invented?
Yes, I was there in the ER when Al was up in the stirrups giving birth to the
Nice.
internet, and
That's why it's called an algorithm.
yeah, it's an algorithm or the algorithm in the ultimate case. Yes,
well-
and so these kinds of things. But remember to ask me.
Oh.
All right. So I've been having this discussion a lot about like crowdfunding, the purposes of gaming, and what people can do in their own lives to spark joy, because joy is a protest. But do you guys have any sort of questions that you might have, knowing this topic, that I should have not ignored over the last hour?
No. I think that the thing is, and I think you hit on it earlier when you said, because I hardly back anything anymore. I do like a couple of times a year.
And it's because you're like, I don't need that crap. I'm not going to play it.
I mean, some of it is, and I'm not as jaded as like the people that are like, well, they're just trying to rip me off. Like I wish more people sort of had the experiences that we have, where we've met so many independent game designers and understand that they're human beings and that life happens and they've got day
Sorta,
jobs.
like I could peel this back, and you're like, hey, you want to see something scary? You're like,
Hey, Twilight Zone. Dan Aykroyd in the Twilight Zone. That scared me so bad. That was, to me, that was the scariest part of that movie. Okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, but no, I think that people really take that for granted. But so when I do try to support projects anymore, like with the rare exception of, maybe I don't know who made Guards of Atlantis. That's probably the last big Kickstarter that I backed. And I don't even know that that's that big of a company that made Guards of Atlantis too. But I just got one in the mail that I was really excited about, 4 Horsemen. And it's about, the 4 Horsemen of the apocalypse, and you're trying to stave off the end of the world. But it's literally like one dude, and he hired an artist, and he designed a game. I'm much more drawn and inclined to try those out and talk about those. And don't get me wrong, I get excited when a game with a bunch of minis that seem unmade, it looks beautiful. I'm going to play it.
All right, so here's the deal.
But I'm not going to back it on Kickstarter because they don't need my freaking money, and I hate the way that they run their Kickstarters.
All right,
so look at the Kickstarter exclusive box of a whole bunch of cool stuff.
See, there you go. So let's talk about the kind of people in Mike, have you done any crowdfunding recently?
Yeah, actually.
What, the Kaiser Cucumber and the 3-night heist? Because
see, I thought we were actually going to play it, and then I could try it before I buy it.
Oh, do you want to play it? Because I could get it out. We can
still on the
GTS
table. Not a pun intended there. Yes, we were researching for actually one of our topics, which was like top 5 most anticipated 2025 board game releases.
Nice.
Upon doing my research, I came across a game by Shadowborn Games. This was the designer of Oathsworn, which I know was wildly successful.
Yeah.
But Shadowboard Game is a very small indie publisher. This guy made a new game, and just every concept in the game sounded amazing to me. And upon doing the research, I late pledged for it.
Right, that's amazing. All right, so that is a great story. It fits in one of the side categories of people, but people come to crowdfunding if they want the extras. You're like, I want the only can get this during crowdfunding extras. That's a group of people. If somebody's a super fanboy for a publisher or any of the kind of stuff, those people end up, you're like, okay. And then there's also,
I used to be that, and I'm not anymore, but I used to be that.
Right. Or if you just cannot give up, like, how many more zombicides do you need? Like, this is your thing. You're gonna come and show up. You cannot give up. So you have
peaked with Black Plague,
right? So you have those are the standard reasons that people. But it used to be I want to go because I want this game to exist because I think the world is better because these people are making games, right? Like a crowd fund for a game used to be the same thing. Can you help me get to my my senior trip in Europe? Like it's this, I want to do this thing altruistically because I think this can, and the fact is you can still do that with certain crowd funds. Like, but you know, we talked about capitalism. This is an example where it got into the thing and it helped in some ways, but in other ways, it sort of made it its own barriers for people to continue in it.
And I guess to my point, right? Like so many people take for granted. I've said this before, and I'll never stop saying it because I just don't think people get it, is that like it's very easy to look at Fight in a Box. And,
no, it's not. We're very small. You gotta squint and then you gotta get in there.
But if I was in a game store,
get
right?
Peters on.
You gotta line up the eye holes so at least 4 of the cats can see out. Like it is a thing.
If I'm in a game store though, and I saw a Conquest Princess on the shelf, and I see the production value behind that, and I see how like well made it is, and like what great art it has, and I'm like, ooh, this looks really awesome. 2012 me, right? The naive gamer is like, oh, Fight in a Box made this, just like Simon made that, and just like Fantasy Flight made that. These are all just big game companies, and totally take for granted the idea that like a small group of people, you know, 2 or 3 people, or even just one person could actually create a game, get it published, and have it look amazing, you know, and really big and just as well produced as any of those big, not mass market, but borderline mass market, you know, mass market for the hobby side, games. And I think it's very easy for people to take that for granted. I just do. I know I can tell you, because there's a Kickstarter, a guy that we did not know, became friends with over the process of working with him and covering his game. His game went to Kickstarter. It funded. There have been delays. He is not the best. He's not the best communicator because he doesn't want to do updates when he doesn't have stuff to update. And so now, like videos that we've done like 2 years ago, will get comments and be like, well, this guy's a thief and he just stole my money. And I'm just like, I tried like twice to be like, he's not a thief, you know, it's just been delayed, but I can't keep like, it's not doing me any good to go out there and like keep saying stuff. So I've just basically kind of stopped responding to the comments. I know the person and I know that the game is like on the way. There's just been production delays, and he wants, you know, you want you get the production samples and they're not right. And so you got to send them back. And then there's that back and forth. And then, you know, the different shit that the factories pull sometimes, right? Where it's like, you know, it's because sometimes there's a little bit of a bait and switch with like what we talked about, and then what they what they try to give you, and all kinds of things like that. And I know. All right,
here's my favorite statistic for that is, Mike, what percentage of workers in China just don't go back to their old job after every Lunar New Year?
Ooh, apropos of the timing as well.
I know, right?
Yeah, happy year of the snake, everybody.
So 1 year, does that make them 1 year contract workers?
No. Just, I had this job and it's now Lunar New Year. And when I come back from Lunar New Year, I'm not coming back to the same job.
Wayne has a guess at 25%.
Yeah, I was going to go higher and say 35.
No, Wayne is brilliant. He understood Virginia versus Loving. Like, Wayne is correct. Always listen to Wayne. Always listen to Wayne.
He's going to be a guest next week.
Wayne is great. No, it is 25%. Like 25% of those people just don't like, and they don't quit conventionally. Everybody knows that they're going to do it. They just secretly got themselves a new job, and they show up at the new job and the other place just does not. They just expect it. You're like you're a good place to work if your turnover is like 10% after New Year.
Wow.
And that's how you know you're a good place to work. And so, and it's just, okay, like this is what you do. And so to Tim's story, because I'm old and I will like roundabout connect everything, like when you're dealing with these fractures, like you're dealing, and it could be more than that. Obviously, if 25% is the average, like it could be more of that. You could come back to completely different people working on your project.
Right.
And if your place, you know, focuses on one thing over the other, if it changes specialties, if it's going over, you like it could be very, 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 very different. Now, Bob was going to say something when Tim was telling his story, and I'm wondering if any of the cats still possess what Bob was going to talk about.
Yeah. I was just going to mention about how you do have like those big companies. He's talking about, like, oh, like, it was only one or two people making, Princess, Conquest Princess, but then you have, Simon and Fantasy Flight Games. But it's like, I feel like those big companies have gotten into the crowdfunding stuff and just kind of like soaked up all of like the money there should be available to the smaller independent people. And they use it like Queen Games uses it for like a pre-order type of thing, right, instead of actually using it to try to get their project off the ground like right, it's meant to be, and they're just soaking up all those Kickstarter dollars.
Well, it's what, and why this topic was so relevant is it is the media change. Like if you have a big Kickstarter and a big game, it's now between $8 and I would say $13 a conversion. You have to be able to give up that kind of money to get somebody onto your crowdfund.
Mm.
Like, how am I going to do that with a game that actually costs $15?
Right.
Tim?
Right. Yeah. You're negative.
Right.
It's not happening.
Yeah. And so, I mean, that's just the case. Like, you will never see another Princess game probably out of me for that very reason. There's just no way that that's going to happen.
Mm.
I might do like, there's probably a second and final expansion for the Princess thing, but it's more pervasive than that, Bob. The big companies also set what people's expectations are. Like Tim talked about walking into a game store and seeing Princess. You would have to have the kind of skills I was trying to talk to Mike about to even register that Princess was there, right? If you look at a purple box with a Steven Universe vibe, giant robots and female, like you might glance over that and go, that's not for me because it doesn't look like anything else in my collection.
Or that is for me because it doesn't look like anything else in my collection.
Right? Like,
yeah, because I'm more likely to pick up a box that looks like that than I am a box that looks like an old Mayfair game or, where Clemens Franz artwork on the side.
That is why you're one of my cultists, Tim. Like that is why you
throw shade at a very popular game designer where his brother does some of the art that I don't love, and I just kind of pass over those boxes. And it turns out that they're good games. I like the unique stuff, Seppy. I like
you can see it though. You've trained yourself.
Yeah, that's
Where
true.
Other people do not see things that they are not ready to see, and it's also why you can only have like two unique things in a board game. If you have more than two unique things in a board game, that is too much for a person to learn. Their brain will collapse.
I mean,
right? If it's too new, it's too different. It creates too much mental load. You're asking them to go a step too far. Like for Mike teaching his girlfriend about like, this is a first down. Right? Why is that a first down? Like that person's offsides. Like just teaching the rules of understanding why the whistle gets blown when is where we are. Like,
I mean, yeah. And my wife loves football. She's an Eagles fan, so she's excited for this weekend.
Whoa.
But I mean, look, just be nice. But she loves football and will watch football, but there's a lot of times where they'll throw a flag and she'll be like, I don't know why. And she's watched we've watched football together.
The Chiefs are on
16 years.
Touch the home, throw flag.
Yeah. the 16 years we've been together, we've watched football. We watch football whenever it's on. And she also doesn't necessarily feel the need to like get into the depth, that like we might dig into it. She appreciates it on a surface level. She likes what she likes. She, enjoys, watching the games.
The number one way to teach somebody sports, I think, who's completely uninitiated, is find the anime of that sport and get him to watch it.
Well,
like,
yeah,
Mike, did you watch Ted Lasso?
Oh,
What's that?
Mike, did you watch Ted Lasso? Okay, that's soccer. About a football person trying to appreciate soccer. It's good.
It's great.
Okay.
It's great. It's really good. I don't really know much about soccer, but 2 seasons into Ted Lasso. And
Mike, did you watch Squid Game?
Oh yeah, love that show.
Bob, Squid Game? Okay.
Did
you ever want to see what happens if you Squid Gamed the high school prospects of soccer in Japan?
That'd be interesting.
It's called Blue Lock, and you should watch it. It will give you an appreciation of Japanese sports, and it is Squid Game soccer. It is fantastic. It is absolutely. And back to our propaganda, like, why do I like anime and why people should think about anime? Anime also has a set of skills that you need to like build mental calluses to be able to appreciate.
Agreed.
Because there are things in it that the first time you watch it, Mike, you'll go like, that's so dumb. Why are they doing that weird thing? And it is just a culturalism that is trying to express a feeling that eventually you get so jaded to, you don't even see it. It just becomes, it's just part of the scenery, right? But the first time that you experience, you're like, why are they all breathing so heavy? Like, why did they all get simple and weird? And why are they falling down because somebody doesn't understand their emotional state? That seems dumb. And it is dumb. And it's just a trope. It is just how it works in that universe. But after you get past it, there's a uniqueness of storytelling and a fearlessness that inspires other ideas, which is really, 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 really good.
Yeah, is it, Seppy? I've been meaning to ask you. I watched the Netflix live action One Piece.
Yeah,
because my daughter was watching the anime, and I was like, I knew there was a live action. I haven't watched any of the anime Cowboy Bebop, but I absolutely loved the live action version. So I was like,
the anime is so much better than the live action. I like the live action version. I'm in the minority there, but
Cowboy Bebop's enjoyable.
I thought Cowboy Bebop was amazing.
I try to watch One Piece anime, and the dude's voice is too annoying
in the anime. But I watched
that's Goku's voice. You understand that, right? That one actor has two of the biggest characters in the history of an entire genre. Like he's both Goku and yeah.
Yeah.
But I watched the One Piece live action, and I absolutely loved it. And it's one of the best shows I've watched.
Yeah, it was enjoyable. I really liked it.
Great.
It's great.
It's great. Now I don't know if
I just wrapped. Just saw that.
I imagine. I know. I can't wait. And I imagine I'll get around to watching some of the anime. My daughter watches it, and so like, what was the one you told me to watch, Seppy, last time you were on? I watched the whole thing and I loved it, but it was weird as hell. But
Dorohedoro. Did I make you watch Dorohedoro?
Yes, Dorohedoro.
Dorohedoro is great.
That was really good.
There. It's out there. It's super hyper violent because I know you'd like that. And then it's weird as all get out. It is weird as all get out.
I really liked Blue Eyed Samurai.
Oh, Blue Eyed Samurai is fantastic.
Yeah, that was a really good show.
Have you not watched that yet, Tim?
Nope. Is that my next homework assignment then?
It's on Netflix. You should watch it. It's fantastic.
All right, Blue Eyed Samurai.
Absolutely fantastic.
I have to say, and I know that, like, again, as someone who is involved in both Star Wars and Star Trek nerd culture, and there are the purists that will crucify you for liking the impure versions. I really am. I think these live action versions are really great bridges into Like,
I would recommend no one watch the One Piece anime unless they want like a history of anime and a life-changing experience. Like, I've watched it since '98. Like, that's a lot, and I've watched it multiple times. Like that's a lot. Like,
is it better? Is it that old? One Piece is that old?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I cut my
I'm
anime
worried
teeth.
that I'm going to expire before it ends. I'm really worried.
That's funny. He still would have found the what he's looking for.
The One
But
Piece.
No, yeah, the One Piece. But no, I cut my teeth on. Remember, you ever see Record of Lotus Wars?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was so. And when I went to Purdue back in '95, they had an anime club, and it was Vampire Hunter D.
Yeah, D is getting a revamp. They're going to do a relaunch for D. That's coming.
Nice
Revamp, pun intended.
Record of Lotus Wars, and that was like it was a D&D anime. It was amazing.
I thought Hunter D. I thought it was going to be spicy. I was a little bit like,
I cut my teeth on the anime called Bastard.
Bastard!
Yeah.
Yeah,
I had a
that explains how weird you
DVD
are.
of Bastard. Yeah.
If your Tim, if you want to do yourself a real service, if your daughter is watching it, you should watch or start it over and watch with her, which is Apothecary Diaries.
Okay.
It is about a woman sold into slavery in Imperial Court of China.
Oh.
It is great.
She is watching one that I forget the name of it now. And there's a dude that's a psychic, and he's in high school, and his friend's an idiot. And he's like the only person
you
can't
just described 4,000 anime.
He only can't read his friend's mind because his friend's so stupid he doesn't have thoughts. And his parents, I don't know. It's a whole thing. And then there was one other one she was watching, and it was like something toilet ghost. And it's about a demon or a ghost that haunts a bathroom.
Apothecary Diaries.
Okay, you got it.
It is fantastic. It will make you realize that anime is a storytelling genre. Has like if you can get through it, if you can appreciate it, if you can make the jump for where you are in anime to that, it is fantastic. But like there are other ones like Chainsaw Man that you should think about. If you like Doro, it's really good for you. Like Mike, you might like Chainsaw Man. It's insane.
I enjoyed the random movies that I came across like in the late 90s, early 2000s. I mean, Akira, right? I mean,
there's an anime about those movies right now about an animator who it gets isekai out to into one of the worlds of one of those awful 90s anime movies. It's great.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. But yes. All right. So did we cover all the topics about the crowdfunding? Obviously, this is my life and so forth and whatnot. I think people can really enjoy this form, like art form, before it gets corporatized. Like we are in the last stages of being able to enjoy this as a thing before it has to transform almost completely. And we're gonna see, like I said, this.
So do you think like that we're on the precipice of crowdfunding changing like drastically? Like
no, I don't know. Okay. Like I really be excited what it is, but we're gonna see its relevance sort of, except for in these like smaller communities and other things. Like I don't think it is ever gonna go away completely. Like radio never went away completely, right?
Right.
We'll make newspapers,
right? Podcasting didn't go away, right?
Thank God.
And so we're gonna see it fall, but it's not gonna have the prominence that it did.
Sure.
We're gonna see. You talked about this earlier, and this is an important point. We're gonna see certain conventions hit their final ceiling. Mm-hmm. And the final ceiling will be based on the size of the city. Can it accommodate all this kinds of stuff? Can the experience that it's actually provide its new audience with enough joy to sustain itself, because it will have alienated its original audience? Yeah, radio killed the video killed the radio star, and then VR will kill the yeah, that's something like brain chips will kill the VR. So it'll all be a thing. It'll be great.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead, Bob.
Well, so the cat said one more thing they wanted to say about the crowdfunding and stuff, because especially like right now people are worried, and it's actually happening where like companies are getting hit with like the tariffs, right? So something's coming overseas, and now it's like, oh, it's going to cost people so much more money. And you had mentioned earlier that you wanted to make your game here, like that's almost like a selling point. Like if you can like say that, hey, it's going to be, made here in like in America, and you're not going to have to worry about any extra fees that might come up later on. Like I feel like that could be almost something that could help to fuel some.
It's, we spent, because the dollar became the currency of the world, it hyperinflated it, which meant we could not do manufacturing in the United States, which means people abandoned it completely, unlike Germany, because they didn't, they're like, okay, you need to first have food and energy self-sufficiency, and you need to invest in infrastructure to do that. Well, that's a long-term plan, and we haven't had long-term plan politicians.
It's been a while
since Jimmy Carter.
Yeah. R.I.P.
Right?
Yeah.
Like Jimmy's like, there's an energy crisis. We need to just stop being dicks. And the American people are like, you're out, Jimmy.
Yeah.
Give us Ronald Reagan.
You die.
Right? And so like if you're talking about the next revolution for us, will it be a micro energy resolution? Because there's all these hints that the grid is failing. So the replacement for that in the emergency is we suddenly have micro generation in places where Tim's house has its own generator that does the thing and so forth and whatnot. Right? Is that the energy revolution that is going to end up happening instead? Like, humans are great at adapting, and we're great at creating completely screwed up situations that we have to adapt from. Right? Like some of these RPGs. But at the core of all these things is, why would you want to participate in a crowdfund like for these weird zines or whatever it is? It's the inspiration that it gives you, like that breaks your internal propaganda. Mike was like onto it in the beginning. Like the things you tell yourself can also be propaganda. And what are the things that you're telling yourself that are precluding you from just dreaming other ideas? And what can you do in a day-to-day that helps you think or dream bigger, or just a little weirder?
Break free of it.
Yeah, like I want to break free.
Listen, I'm just gonna say that some of the best music and art has come out of very difficult times.
Yeah,
it does.
I'm not saying that I want those difficult times, but I'm just saying punk music, rock and roll. I mean, just great art, great, visual art, everything.
Yeah, these are all kinds of concepts. So I hope I was more like for the stream. I hope I was more uplifting than doom and gloomy.
No, I think the idea though, right, Seppy, is that you are
jailbreak your brain. The jailbreak. Everybody jailbreak your brain.
You are providing you've got a very unique.
Voids the warranty though, by just saying.
You've got a really unique and weird game on Kickstarter right now. Yeah. It's weird and it's unique and it's like, why is the cucumber a Kaiser? We don't ask these questions. You ride with it. You see what happens. It's like
ride my cucumber, Tim. Ride it.
Like watching Doro. You go with it.
But more importantly, like when somebody does something different, instead of see if you can take your blinders off and say, why are they doing that weird thing? Like, go on the weird journey that we are going on.
Listen,
these zines. Like we're doing like 3 minutes video about why we're idiots like every day, and we're not going to post to the Kickstarter every day doing it, but we'll do the videos every day. So just check in. Like I do the board game design tip for the day. That's 15 seconds. It will just give you a better appreciation of anything that you do that you need any of the skills in, and it just is there to make people take a moment of self-reflection and think differently. And I think that is just healthy. What game? I missed it. It's this one.
Yeah. Your game, Seppy.
Kaiser Cucumbers 3-night heist, please. If you could go to
put it back up
crowdfund.
again, Mike.
Yeah, so there's share the link again. But it's basically like a very fast, unique card game. And then if you want to get any deeper in there, you've got some RPG options as well. And unlike Simon, there's a bunch of options, but it's very easy and affordable to bundle them all together. Unlike Simon.
Unlike,
because Seppy's got a legit kind of all in, and then without the 37 add-ons that you need to throw in to be all in, which I hate with a passion.
We got various things going on.
Seppy doesn't have an all-in pledge; he's got a balls deep pledge.
Yeah. we have an Isekai Genius pledge where you actually want to like Isekai yourself into our world. You can do that.
I need
deep.
I need the ride my cucumber pledge.
Yeah.
Yeah. I got popped.
Yeah, almost all over my screen.
And then suddenly I see my pledge numbers drop. Like, oh
damn it.
Right on my stream. Like,
not again.
It's so hard. Okay. But yeah. So like my advice to people when they're like I had a lot of awful stuff happen to me, and when you're trapped with all that stuff, you've got to do a little bit of homework, but you also got to just start thinking about stuff that is not that stuff, and anything that can give you like any inspiration, any little bit of joy, like you just snatch it up. You rub it into the cat suit. It'll be fine. You've got to find the sunshine, man. And like, even if it's this tiny little square coming through, you got to get in there. You got to, get that. And if you look through that hole, then you get like, there's a whole world out there and you just keep on looking. And that's hard. Like, it's hard. People are dealing with stuff. And the more the more stuff that people are dealing, the smaller their world gets. So anything that you can think of that expands your world, go do that. It's a good thing. And that's sort of where crowdfunding and indie publishing, like you can go to a whole place and be like, you would be a star on our Discord. You come on our Discord, like we will, we'll sit down, we'll answer all your questions, talk about your mother, whatever is good. I'll tell you about my mother. And these are all
easy, Freud.
What's a tortoise? Do you know what a turtle is? Easy Roy. Bob, Easy Roy.
Ooh. Roy Batty getting a little. Let's go.
We love some Roy Batty. Okay. Yeah. I'm interested now in Mike's best team and what year it was. Mike, do you still remember which team like took the league? Like it was the most competitive league. You made this essential trade at the right time. Nobody knew that this guy was gonna whatever, and it just made your season.
Yeah, actually, I do.
I love this. Tell us the story.
This is not too long ago. This was 2022 or 2021. So this was the year that Tom Brady was traded to the Buccaneers. Okay. Now Tom Brady's like last year or two with the Patriots. Like everybody knew that he was like the GOAT by then, but people figured he was on the backside of his career. He was going for his last hurrah to extend his career, and he wasn't going to do a whole lot. And so there were 10 quarterbacks that were drafted before Tom Brady in my Yahoo league that year. When I got Tom Brady in the 9th round, and he was the number 1 quarterback in fantasy football that year, his first year with the Buccaneers. That same season, I captured Cooper Kupp's career year.
Oh my God. Was that year 1 or 2? That was pretty early for Kupp. Right?
2021, I'm pretty sure, where Cooper Kupp had like 1,800 yards and like 15 touchdowns the first year he played with Matt Stafford.
Yeah.
That
I was going to
season
say Stafford's first year with the
aligned.
Rams.
That season also aligned with Jonathan Taylor's current career year. And so I just happen to, I also, that same team had Austin Eckler and like 22 touchdowns. And so
you were unbeatable. You were wrecking everybody.
I didn't even need to make trades. I drafted just this completely unstoppable team that lost once in the regular season. And the only thing that prevented me from winning the championship that year is a certain Cincinnati Bengal named T. Higgins, who did his best Jamar Chase impression and caught 15 passes, 4 touchdowns, and like 250 yards in like week 16 to just completely. I now call him Teabag Higgins because that's what happened to me that week. I just got annihilated.
So the team that you remember isn't the one that took the championship?
I didn't take the championship.
Seppy,
but yet
it's the one that got away.
Every other team. I outscored every other team in the regular season by over 300.
That's amazing. All right, so that is also the joy of gaming. If anybody understands, Mike just encapsulated this. Like a fantasy football league is a strategy game, first of all, and a bidding and betting game, and so forth and whatnot. But also, it's the story of it, and it's the story of not winning. That is literally the pure essence of joy that we like, and he will never forget that. That is now in his DNA. he'll be in the old age home with his like hot Filipino wife, and he's like,
we call them the cardboard war stories, you know,
and he's gonna go, hey, oh my god, did somebody back? Oh my god, yay, 82.
Oh, he got another backer. Hey, we're gonna call that. We're gonna take credit for that. We're gonna call that the board game
bump. Boom.
Yeah. Well, I know you guys. If you haven't, like, you guys will go throw a buck just so you can, or at least go to one of these other crowd funds for these RPG zines, because we're telling everybody who like goes and gives people $1 from these zines to tell them that Kaiser Cucumber sent them, or
I mean, that's
Kaiser Cucumber sent their regards.
That's the Kaiser sends his regards.
Kaiser Cucumber sent his regards.
It's kind of worth the buck to be the troll.
It's not troll. It's encouraging. Like, you know, it's like Kaiser Soze. Like, yeah, Kaiser Soze.
No. I guess like troll in the positive way, right? Like that's like the like. Because like what you're doing is sort of like the Banksy of crowdfunding.
Oh my god!
Buying access to the.
Now does everybody see? That's why Mike wears that hat and shaves his head. He's actually one of those little trolls, like, and then it's like hair up. Like, can everybody picture Mike as one of those little poopy trolls? You can see it now, right? You can't. You can see it.
You can't unsee it.
Yeah, I know you can. It's that is also now part of your DNA, catsuit. It'll be fine. Yeah. All right. So I took you guys all on this weird existential journey of stuff, and you're amazing fans. Thank you so much. Next time I'll bring the silly again, but thank you for going through this. Yeah, like generally the process of, you know, when people like see something and like, why did that restaurant disappear? Or why did that like music people disappear? And like, okay, usually it's either circumstances or a change in the environment.
Right.
And we're seeing those changes in the environment. We're experiencing this in a way that, it
is really interesting because I mean, as somebody that works for like a large corporation, I had a bunch of emails today addressing sort of like price increases due to tariffs.
I almost pooped the other day. It was $7.50 for a dozen eggs. I nearly pooped.
Well, it's not inflation now; it's bird flu. It's not.
Oh my god!
Listen, it's not the current administration's fault.
Yeah, look,
it's circumstances outside of their control.
Very complicated, algorithm that's not controlled by one person.
Yeah, God, but I mean, the thing is like that kind of stuff though, like rolls into everything, you know. And it took a while for me to really appreciate and understand how, you know, that affects my, you know, my board game hobby, you know what I mean? And like, and it's very easy to take for granted, like how that affects independent publishers and what they're trying to do.
And I really want people to take away the message that they can do a lot for themselves and they can do a lot for gaming just by spreading joy, like getting games to the table, All you have to do is do the thing that you should like, get that game to the table, like that game that's been sitting on your shelf forever. Like just get it to the table. Like,
it's one of the things we did. So there was this little PoppyCon convention that we spent all weekend at last weekend, and just playing games with people, teaching people new games, and trying to bring people into the hobby and spreading that joy.
Because it was
such a difference.
Yeah, and the great thing about that kind of convention is I try to make a point to play games with people I haven't played games with before. And I was able to do that, right? And hopefully, help them have a good and fun experience in like playing a game that they haven't heard of, that they've never seen before. And
you guys are getting to see what might be like the tail end of like, I don't know if you guys know this, but I lost my voice at PAX Unplugged. Like on Black Friday, I kind of gotten a cold and I recovered enough for it to get to PAX Unplugged. And then I did not take it easy that first day. And, I'll do some vocal gymnastics. So by Friday morning, 11:50, I had lost my voice, and I continued to push it to 5. And then I was completely silent for the next month.
Oh my God, Seppy, did that kill you? How are you
no,
alive?
Yeah, I still have I have permanent damage to my vocal cords, and they put me on steroids.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
So like we are at the tail end, like I gotta go soon because my throat hurts and those kind of stuff. But like, the 800 years of my, celestial being is finally unraveling. And so if you get a chance at these upcoming conventions or any kind of stuff to see one of my demos, if you've never experienced one of those, it's one of the things I'm proudest of. Know that they are becoming a rarefied thing. Like I can't do 14 hours anymore. I can barely do like 4 to 6. So
yeah, I mean, it's tough. I've lost my voice at many a con. And I'm happy to do it, but it does kind of suck. Like towards the end of it, you're like, oh no.
Like I was okay with losing my voice at the end of the con, but I was not okay with losing my voice for 5 weeks.
Yeah.
It's 5 weeks. It was a while.
Well, Seppy, you always are so generous with your time and your stories. I appreciate listen, I love the fact that you hold nothing back ever. Like you really don't. And that's my favorite thing. I really like, because there's no joke too inappropriate for me. You can ask the guys, like we push the limits all the time.
That's how I know I have limits.
Yeah, exactly.
If you don't like push them, how do you?
Yeah, safe word's banana, Bobby. Yeah, if you're not pushing the limits, why do you even have a safe word?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Pineapple. Oh wait.
Yeah, it's an upside down pineapple. It's Bob's safe word.
Whoa.
But no, I really appreciate you, man. I really do. I hope you never doubt that. Never doubt that. Anytime you want to come on, you always have a spot. You don't have to have a Kickstarter. I love hanging out with you, man.
We're gonna have another showdown about some topic next quarter. I like the idea of coming back to visit for some reason.
Just come back let's fabricate a reason if we have to.
Yeah, fabricate a reason to come in and fight about
it's the 3-month anniversary of the successful funding of Kaiser Cucumber. We're doing it.
Actually the easy one is end of the line will be like beginning of third quarter, end of second quarter this year to deliver. So we should play that game, which is filled with references just for Tim. And we haven't even talked about Silo. Did you watch Silo, Bob?
I not only watched Silo, but read it.
Him, he's seen it.
So
I haven't watched all of season 2 yet, but I watched season 1, bought the book, read the book, Wool, and it was amazing.
Like post-apocalyptic. It's awesome.
Yeah, dude. Oh, come on. I'm here for it. And it's really good. The show is great. Apple did a great job with that show. I'm now like all in on Severance season 2. Severance is also amazing.
Is it as good as I want it to be?
Season 2 or just season 1?
It's just Severance in general.
Yeah, Seppy. Watch it. It's weird.
I like
You'll
weird.
dig it.
I like.
You'll dig it.
I do like the weird stuff. I do.
Yeah,
like the weird
there's
stuff.
a great mystery to it. Yeah, you'll dig it.
I owe Mike one. We can also do a non-on-screen thing where I teach Mike Kaiser Cucumber. Yeah, because he's like, but I was supposed to play games tonight. You guys, old guys, are doing the talking, and then you made me do the sports sponsor.
Hold on, Mike gets excited. Listen, you asked Mike to talk about sports. He ain't
you brought
mad.
fantasy football. He was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
I love fantasy sports. Absolutely love fantasy sports. I'm terrible at them. But I love fantasy sports, and it's a real testament to how smart gamers can be. Like, there's a lot of shit going on and football is a ridiculously strategic game. It's insane. Like,
It's
you get
really
to set up the pieces and have them smash each other. Like, I'll be more excited when football is played by robots. Because then people won't have to get injured, like,
right.
Like die in the 30s. But I like, as far as like the purity of like strategy, yeah.
Chris, Severance is on Apple as well, just like Silo and Ted Lasso. But no, the thing is, it's funny. I had a buddy like years ago that was way into football, way into fantasy sports, way into baseball, loved all the stats, right? He was a stat monster. And I'm like, dude, you would love board games. Nah, no interest. Haller. Bob, you remember Haller?
oh yeah,
Yeah.
Josh.
Yeah, Josh. Big sports guy. Freaking nerd for sports. Such a nerd for sports. Like bigger nerd for sports than Mike. Like just stats. All crazy stats, could rattle them off, blah, blah, blah. But I could not get that man to play any kind of board game, card game, anything. No interest.
It would be very interesting to see. Like, Mike has a lot of these statistical skills and matchups that are directly analogous to lots of types of strategy games, and other statistical analysis is like how people win elections. Like, what are these kinds of, like,
It's
those
propaganda.
skills are in his brain already. But they've just been painted in a different color of paint. And so, it's very, 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 very interesting.
It's not hard to sort of transition it over a little bit.
You think that'd make him good at board games?
Maybe.
You would think it would, but it doesn't.
I feel like the game that I wanted to play with the three of you, of course, is The Cost. Mike, have you heard about the game The Cost?
No.
Bob, heard about the game The Cost?
Mm-mm.
I'm assuming your super genius fan Wayne has heard The Cost. Chat, does anybody know what the game The Cost is about?
No.
I'm still waiting. I have a suspicion, but I'm not sure.
It is a game about making the most money. The person who makes the most money wins.
Mike's in.
Oh, I love those kind of games.
Told ya.
Guess what you're doing?
Ooh, what?
Mining asbestos.
Oh, wow.
It is about the economy of making money, understanding that what you're doing is
Killing people.
to make a profit.
Oh, this is a 2020 game.
It is. It's a good game. It is the most like, I will understand how the choices that I am making are affecting the lives of others in the most real way.
Mm.
Like to put protective
Sold.
gear on your people has a cost. To let your people suffer the effects of asbestos mining has a cost. And you're making these choices.
I kind of love it. Wow,
It's
what
awful.
a dark.
It's gonna
very,
make you feel awful.
What is it? Euphoria-ish? Like,
Yeah, but worse. It kind of reminds me. There's like this TikTok that I see all the time, and it's like this kid, this parent, this dad is trying to teach his son a lesson, and he's got his little model train set up, right? And he's got all these little figures. He's got like 5 figures lined up on one set of the tracks, and 1 figure set up on the other side of the
train
track.
dilemma. Yeah.
Yeah, and so he asked his son, he's like, okay, well, which way do you go? If you go this way, you're going to hit the 1 guy. And if you go this way, you're going to hit these 5 guys. So the little kid takes the 1 figure off the 1 track and puts it on the track with the 5 people. And you're like, oh, that's so sweet. And then the kid proceeds to ram the train through all of them.
The cost
I just was like, that's perfect.
the cost is a great example of what board games can potentially do for it. Like, and it's a
It's
very
educational,
indie voice.
right?
It's very indie voice. Like having people make the kind of decisions that end up being like, okay, if you want the company to succeed, you do this. And yeah, it's good. It's
they have
absolutely
a
good.
fiduciary responsibility to their.
I like that Seppy just went like. Bleh.
Yeah, like the number one, our first recommendation from Zine Quest here is a solo RPG called Heavy Weighs the Crown.
Ooh.
And in it, you are doing the role-playing adventures of the crown itself as it's passed through generations. It's written by the same guy who did Artifact. And if you're looking for a role-playing experience you can do on your own and see where role-playing can go, it is the reason. There's a reason. But of course, if you go and you back Heavy Weighs the Crown, please make sure you tell them that Kaiser Cucumber sent you.
Oh, the Kaiser will send me.
Yeah,
I
know it's
might
great.
just randomly put that on any message board that I visit. Because I'm kind of that guy.
Cucumber now, like stick it in people's sides and be like, Kaiser Cucumber has sent you.
Yeah. The Kaiser sends his regards.
I want you to do it. We would like you to do it when you do something positive to help some weird indie weirdo creative. I would like everybody. Remember Kilroy? Like, I want Kaiser Cucumber to be like,
Mike gets behind the Kilroy was here.
Yeah. Oh, good. All right, I'm gonna go now. You guys are amazing.
Seppy, we love you. Thank you so much for being here and spending time with us.
Yeah. Bye, friends.
Always a great time.
Bye, Seppy.
Hey,
can I just hit?
Yeah, just go.
Studio?
Yeah, just go, brother. Just go. There he goes. Oh my God, Seppy. I love Seppy. And you never know what you're gonna get with him, right?
Right.
Like, we got weird, in-depth.
Yeah, and then he ties everything back.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's good at what he does. I know that was not necessarily everybody's cup of tea, but I guess the beauty
Whiskey Wednesday, but that's okay.
Listen, man, it's the great thing about having our own show. We just kind of get to do what we want.
What we want. It's our hot body.
We will. Oh, what were you gonna say, Mike? Go for it.
We get to tie everything back by like when Seppy mentioned what it would look like if I had troll hair.
Well done, Mike.
I should have done that. I tried to sneak that in before he left, but
That's
okay. Great. Well, you have to clip that out and put it in the chat.
No doubt.
Yeah, there you go.
We need to send that to Seppy so he can see it.
Yeah.
No, but I
like that look, Mike. It looks good on you.
Yeah.
I'm glad.
I do appreciate though that those of you that did hang out with us for that. I do appreciate that. Next week, we'll be back to a little bit more of the standard format. Next week's Beans and Dice, right?
Ooh, yes.
Beans.
Which is Mr. Wayne Kruger that you regularly see in our chat.
Yeah.
They do a really cool format with their show that I always appreciated. This is it's a call-in show. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna host stream the my troll cosplay. Okay.
Only if you're gonna be there, Arn. You better be there.
Or some blue dye.
But they do a call-in show, so we're gonna co-stream it to their channel. So we're gonna go ahead and let Carlos open up the phone lines.
We're gonna do that.
We're gonna do that. That means next week, if you call the phone number on the screen, you can be on the show.
Yeah. So there's a weird show that used to be on MTV called Syphil and Ollie. I don't know if either of you guys have seen it, but it's about sock puppets, and they're just like these dudes doing a show. But they had a segment called Calls from the Public, and it had a great bumper, and it was calls from the public, calls. And like, I love it. And calls from the public sounds like a great idea.
Yeah, we got to figure out how they do that and then incorporate that and steal that and put it on our show.
Okay.
But I know they do a very cool thing. They are very informed, very tied into the industry. They people say this about us, and I find it always very flattering, but I do mean this. I don't know how they don't have more followers for what they do and the way that they do it. They do a very interesting. It's a very interesting show with a very unique format. And then I've called in a couple times on their show, and
Yeah, it's really good content. The guys are really knowledgeable. Their delivery is good. It's informative. I think what makes it tough is the same thing challenge that the guys from the Full 42 have. The live shows take longer to build an audience, unfortunately.
they
And it's the
do.
same thing that we see with the content on our channel. Our best live videos will get a fraction of the views that our studio episodes
That's
do.
true. That's true. And we also do it at night, and like that's not always easy for everybody. We are going to try again soon. Not going to say when because I don't want to commit to anything, but we're going to try to do it. We're going to start to try to do some more lives from the studio on Sundays, especially when we sort of have these time sensitive lists. Wow, that's a big link. Is that a link
What?
you shared,
Yeah.
Mike?
That was a little crazier than I thought it would be.
What
Yeah.
was that? You, Bob?
That was me. Yeah.
Is that
What
your
is that?
OnlyFans?
Yeah. So follow that for the After Dark special.
Oh boy.
Here.
Yeah, be sure to leave your social
Here.
and your routing number.
What the heck is that?
It was a link to an image, but
yeah.
Simple and dude, I had a VHS tape of like all the episodes on one tape. And
nice.
It was a great show. It was hilarious.
That's his dark web.
That was a heck of a link. That's right.
I'm looking for that. Oh, I see it. Oh,
it was a hilarious show, by the
way. What's the topic when they come on? Is it family games or games
it
to play
is
with your
family
family?
games.
Okay.
Ooh. So I 5 family games.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's family games because those guys did some type of like I don't want to say fundraiser, but giving back and doing some gaming with families and so there we go.
Okay.
Yeah, Wayne right there can probably explain it to you better. I don't remember exactly what the cause was. I know it was a good one, and so I just threw out family games and it stuck. I also know Wayne's got some kiddos and probably gets a chance to. There you go. Thank you. I'm sure plays plenty of family games. So,
Cool.
Seemed like a good topic. We've never covered it. So yeah, looking forward to it. It'll be fun.
Yeah, and also just excited to sort of share the screen with those guys. I really like what they do, and Wayne's been kind enough to watch the show for a while.
He's one of our irregulars for a long time.
Yeah. But Carlos is a good dude. I've only talked to Rob. I think interacted with him when I've called in on the show and stuff. But I just man, it's. When you want to be around good people, people doing good things. So,
yeah,
I'm looking forward to that.
To tie this back to the media and this hobby, media has become just like crowdfunding, just like publishers. The media in this space has also become incredibly crowded. So it has made it even harder to stand out. There are hundreds of board game channels. In fact, when we started really kind of focusing on kind of trying to grow our Instagram, one of my strategies is just follow every account that covers board games. I think we're following over 4,000 accounts, and every single one of them has board game or Brettspiel, something related to board games in the name of their channel. So it is an incredibly crowded space. It's very hard to stand out.
It is.
So subscriber count, view count doesn't necessarily mean anything. There's a lot of great content creators out there that, just haven't been around as long and haven't had the time to build up the base.
Or they have been around and they just haven't gotten the exposure,
right. It doesn't mean the content's not good.
100%. 100%. And again, right? Like I think one of the things that I really like about our channel and what we do is because I spent a lot of today responding to comments on videos. I had somebody ask me about Foundations of Rome, and we kind of had a conversation. But the cool thing is that I feel like they were asking honest questions, and I was able to sort of try to answer them as best as I could. And I don't feel like that in any way was that coming from like a bad place or anything like that. And so
as you could.
Yeah, I answered as best as I could. Asbestos. I see what you did there.
Yeah.
But no, I love that kind of interaction, right? I'm watching our Discord kind of go nuts all the time. Love that stuff. Jim, we gotta have Jim on soon, right?
Yeah, when are you coming on soon, man, for your expansion?
That is last week in February.
Sweet. I'm glad Mike's on it because I'm not.
Soon. Yeah, real soon.
That's okay. That's why I keep a calendar, because for one, my memory blows.
Yeah.
Two, I'm a little bit of a planner, so I like a schedule.
Yep.
But
I'm glad I actually have that schedule now because like I've been like writing it on I have a desk calendar at work and I've been writing all the stuff on there. So like while I'm at work, I can see like what's coming up and whatnot.
Yeah. Feb 26, right on.
Sweet.
But yeah, man, I love this stuff. I appreciate all of this and that we get to do it. And yeah, we're just trying to find different ways to stand out. Our top 50 concludes this week, right? Last one drops this week.
Yes. Yeah, that's correct.
The 5 through 1.
5 through 1.
And then also our most anticipated
Saturday, Mike was saying.
Yeah.
Saturday.
Yeah, we since we broke our top 10 into 2 top 5s, I wanted to make sure they released in the same week. Because we have kind of dragged out that top 50 for like the last 3 weeks. So it just seemed fair to not make everybody wait even longer. And also it just seems like most anticipated for this year, the earlier the better.
Yeah, it needs
so
to come out. We try to do a lot.
We're already 5 weeks into, the month or the year. So the longer that sits, the less relevant it is. So yeah, we're dropping 3 huge videos this week. So.
And then we also will next week, probably early next week, have the our favorite games we played in January. And that's going to kind of be something that I think we're going to try to get back to is like, hey, games we've been playing. Because when we did do that like kind of weekly sort of news show, we talked about games that were hitting the table.
Games we played.
So I do like the idea of trying to get back to that, at least recap the month. You know, some months are better than others, but see if we can't recap that month, talk about some stuff that's hit the table, what we've been doing. And then that also gives us an opportunity to talk about games that maybe aren't out yet or that, we've seen early versions of or prototypes of. And can put them on your radar.
No holds barred on that list.
Yeah, for sure, 100%.
Yeah, I like that because we a lot of times don't, other than like mentions on the live show. Sometimes we just don't always, and other than the previews themselves, talk about the actual games that we're previewing outside of those videos. So
yeah,
it will be nice. We're going to be able to combine stuff that's out to stuff that you should look for that's currently on Kickstarter.
Yep. That'll be a good reoccurring thing. So
yeah, we definitely plan on doing that. 12 of them this year, games we played from the previous month. I'm looking forward to those. And
we have not forgotten. We just still need to kind of hammer out some of the rules. We have not forgotten the Board Game Fantasy League. Mike and I were texting about that a little bit yesterday, but that's like a conversation that like we need to all hammer out while we're in the same place. Because a lot of stuff gets lost in the text.
Yeah,
when we're trying to message each other.
Who's like not as deep into that as you guys are. There's a lot of text messages back and forth about how that should be scored and ranked and dealt with and whatnot. And so yeah, it's being worked on. So
Yeah, we want to present like a fair but fun, bare bones version that is also not overwhelming for us to track. Um,
Correct.
I'm kind of thinking, and I'll put this out here into the universe, and we'll see what happens with it. But I was kind of thinking maybe that everybody that participates, we've got like a Google Doc or a spreadsheet that anybody that's in the league has access to, and you're going to update your own points. I do feel like if you feel like you've got to cheat at this league, then I guess
you got to cheat to
okay.
win, or I hope it helps you sleep better.
But if everybody wanted to like track their own teams, I mean that might take the onus off of it. The other thing would be
everybody look.
The other thing would be depending on how many people we have in the league, whether like Mike, Bob, and I each take like a chunk of the, each take a third of it and are responsible for updating those points. That way, it's just not all on one person, because that is a lot to track and stuff. It'd be one thing if it was just the three of us all in the league, but with having potentially a lot of people,
that's a lot of games to track. Oh, 404. Timbot not found.
Oh,
but you get the point.
Snap. Oh. He's been cloned already.
Oh, he's been cloned.
That was so weird. It just like dropped me out.
Did your battery die?
I don't think so. I'm changing my battery real quick. No, I'm still like 53%. That was weird.
That was very weird.
Double Tim for the win, right? Yeah. Double your refreshment.
Double your fun. Yeah.
And the twins. But that's all I got for tonight, guys.
I'm good.
I
lost him again for a second, but now you're there.
Make sure we get a thumbs up if you appreciate the content. Appease the algorithm. Because again, it is a crowded space to being any publisher or a content creator. So
the interaction,
every comment, all of it helps and matters, and we appreciate it.
Yep.
Yeah, and thank you guys, everybody, for being here. Everybody that's always here. It really means a lot to us. I cannot express that enough. And just here for every comment. Really, really, really appreciate it. But yeah, obviously, right. If there's stuff we're not doing that you want to see, let us know in the Discord. Let us know in the chat, in the comments. There's guests we need to have back on. We need to harass. I think Mike, we landed a big one coming up. We'll save it. We're not going to spoil it now, right? But we got a big game designer
right now. Just a teaser.
We got a big game designer coming up in the future.
Yeah.
I'm pretty excited about.
That's March.
Yeah, somebody
talked about his games a whole lot, but we will not spoil that just yet. We're going to get our way through February. We've got a bunch of guests coming.
Quite the lineup.
And then we'll spill the beans later.
Yeah, the only bad thing about having all these guests is that we're not getting to our 50 outside of the 50 at all.
It's a good problem to have. I mean,
it's a great problem to have.
We've got some really good guests coming up. Like, I'd like to get to that list soon, but if anything, our top 5, our top 10 will be out all this week. So,
listen, that's it, man.
And our most anticipated will be out this week. So you got some fun, interesting content coming out. Give us a few weeks. We'll revisit that top 100.
I like the anticipated list because, there's a whole year coming up here. I mean, sure, I guess there's 2 months kind of getting ready to be passed out, but there's a lot of cool games coming out. And I think that prepping people to be looking for these games is good information. So, because some people don't do a lot of the research, and so we did the research for you, and these are the fun ones coming out.
So we had 15, right? We had no crossover. We all picked different.
Yeah, our crossovers came with our honorable mentions. I think we each kind of picked 5, separate ones each, but then we also had, that game would have been on my list too, but we kept it at 15. So.
And to your point, Bob, pointing people in the right direction, because tying it back to the topic, there's over 4,000 board games getting released these days. And it's like, which ones are actually worth an all-in pledge? Which ones deserve your attention? So try to, put the blinders on and focus on certain games that we think are worth your time and money. Hopefully, is worth a watch.
Yeah. And obviously there's going to be stuff we've missed. So comment and let us know.
Exactly.
Hey.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because with 4,000 being out, not even a week, and I don't have that much time to research all those games.
I don't have that much bandwidth for sure. Yeah.
Out of 5,000, narrowing it down to 15 is between 3 people is still tough.
100%.
For sure.
Yeah. So, and we're not going to get to play all of them for years. So that's just the nature of the industry right now. It's good. It's good that there's lots of options and more people can get their ideas out into the public space, but it makes it tough.
I don't know if you guys saw or not. I think you did, because I think I saw that you guys liked it or not. But Turksy and Lacerda.
Oh, right. Yeah.
I commented on there. If they manage to get Tool art too, I don't know if I'll be able to contain myself.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, they're working on a secret project.
Yeah. Turksy posted a thing that him and Lacerda, there was one of their agreements or whatever, and he blurred a lot of it out to keep some of it secret.
It's a lot of it is redacted, but yes.
Yes.
What?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Oh,
very exciting.
It's called conspiracy.
You better go bury your wallet in the backyard for the next 6 months, Mike, because otherwise
it's not going to help. It's all saved in the Googles.
I'm gonna bury my credit card in a time capsule.
But yeah.
Wow. Okay, I'm looking at a photo of it right now.
Nice.
I did see this. I kind of forgot about it. Interesting.
But yeah. Anyways, teaser.
Good stuff.
Teaser for upcoming stuff to be excited about.
Tease. Yep. I'm sure that'll be like a 2026 or 2027 release.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, probably so.
Well, boys, it's been amazing.
Cool, guys.
Yeah.
Let's get to bed.
Let's do that. Yeah.
Yep. Good times as always. And make sure you join us next week. Beans and Dice podcast call-in show. You can be on the show.
Aaron, you commenting has been bittersweet because it just reminded me of how much I miss you. So I'm really glad you were in here, and so don't not do that.
For sure.
Now you said something about Gen Con, but you didn't say anything when we were talking about Origins. Are you trying to say you're not going to be at Origins this year?
Oh, get Aaron.
How are you going to play Telestrations from Chicago?
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. We need to get them all in town again. That was an amazing time.
That was fun.
Yeah.
But all right, guys. Well, for the Board Game Rundown, I've been Tim.
Bob.
I was Mike. And we're Audi 5000.
Oof. That's dated.
I know. So are we all.
Oh, so much.
Toodles.
We'll see you guys.
Good
next
job,
time.
Stonemeyer. A 7.3 repeating. Heating.